Daredevil Born Again has changed everything, and it has literally turned the world upside down. The episode, Isle of Joy, amazing. And it's going to make what we believed about Matt clearly wrong, because we thought Daredevil had been born again, but now we know he hasn't. Yet. Welcome to Philosophy All Along. I'm a professional philosopher. I like to use the tools of philosophy to help me understand the things I love, like this episode, on a deeper level. Okay, so there's major spoilers ahead. The central question for this episode is, why in the world would Matt save Kingpin's life? Why would he save Fisk? Yeah, we know that Matt tries to be a good guy, but in saving Fisk, we know that horrible things are continuing to happen to Matt because of Fisk, and not just to Matt, but to New York, possibly to the world. So what possible reason could there be? Well, this episode is going to spell it out for us. So let's take a deep dive into the episode and what it's telling us. Now, the episode begins with this blue rose that is turned upside down. And we're hearing the lyrics from this song, Stillness and Panic, being played in the background, haunting. And the lyrics that we're hearing tell us what I say is a true part of a lie. So that means that the episode is telling us, they're being very, very, very clear that they're telling us which part of a lie that we've been told is in fact the true part of it. So here we are with this blue flower. It's upside down, which is often symbolic of death, but maybe even more importantly, right? It's blue, meaning that it is a blue rose, which is impossible. It doesn't occur in nature. So now we already know and have kind of re-verified the idea that the true part of a lie is already something we're playing with. We're dealing in worlds of illusions. We're dealing with worlds of falsehoods. And what we need to know is what is the falsehood we've been believing and which part of it is in fact the true part. So we start upside down. The world is already topsy-turvy. But not just starting there, we actually see it turn there, right? We're central on the flower and then it's moved upside down. So the episode is letting us know from the beginning that things are going to be unraveling topsy-turvy for us. But where do we also end the episode? Upside down. Matt, as he's been shot, presumably dying, is also upside down. So we also have a mirroring aspect to it. This episode does this a lot, where it has mirror scenes, parallel scenes. We're seeing behind people in ways that they can't themselves see, like in a mirror. It's really, really, really powerful stuff here. And importantly, we are now going to find out which of the falsehoods, which parts of them are true. Okay, so the true part of a lie is the part of a lie that makes it more believable, right? Well, we're going to see that there's a few falsehoods, a few delusionary worlds that we've been living in and watching this show, right? But Matt in particular is probably that central falsehood. And in other words, he believes a central falsehood. He's trying to tell himself something and trying to tell us, the viewer, something specifically that he's coping pretty well, right? That Foggy's death hasn't utterly wrecked him, utterly destroyed him. He's doing basically okay. He is not. And we know this because he's been told repeatedly through the show that he is not doing well. Other people are like, you're blowing your life up. You're being self-destructive. So he is deceiving himself. But what is that kernel of truth in all of this? The fact that there is a time when Matt is in fact actually pretty okay. And that's when he's doing violence, right? When he's engaging in violence, he is probably feeling pretty great, coping pretty well. And the problem of this, though, is isolated for us and made most evident when we see him confront Dex, because he is being called in by Dex basically to help Dex. And he tells him, Bullseye tells him that they're in a different life. He would be helping him. He would be defending him. And that's probably true. We have seen Matt act as a defense attorney for people who he knows have done horrible things. But in this case, he refuses to take the actions that would help save his life, because Matt, as a Catholic, does not believe in the death penalty. He is not supposed to believe that it is okay to put someone in Gen Pop and let them die there. That is not part of his belief set and not how we've seen him act in the past. But instead, Dex asks him to act in his legal fashion, as a lawyer, as a defense attorney. And Matt basically refuses and instead beats the man's face against the table when he's already tied up and already helpless. This is going to lead to tremendous consequences. Okay, so what other lies, deceptions, illusions like this blue rose are we going to see here? Okay, well, one, Fisk believes that he can have it all, right? That he can live in this perfect world. We see him sit behind his desk, believing that this is a desk of historical importance, that he is also going to have a kingdom like past mayors of New York. Vanessa thought that she could kill Foggy without repercussion, and Matt is under the impression that he can continue as a vigilante, that he can continue as Daredevil, and also maintain his personal relationships, where we see them actually falling apart around him. Now, the Isle of Joy is particularly important. It's the title of the episode, but what is it a reference to? It is a reference to Arthurian legend. So we have these knights. We got King Arthur, and we know that there's one knight in particular who's especially important, right? Lancelot. Lancelot is the knight who has the affair with Guinevere, Arthur's wife, right? He's also supposed to be the most powerful knight. He's supposed to be the most handsome knight. He's the best swordsman. He is the most famous of all the knights. And what is the Isle of Joy in connection to Lancelot? It is literally where Lancelot, after spending 5 years being insane, goes to retire. It is his paradise, right? There's maidens who are like singing songs and dancing around the kingdom. Like, people want to see him and be around him, and it's this perfect space. But what happens? It is fleeting. He, in fact, leaves it. And when he does, it falls to ruin. This beautiful, perfect paradise collapses. So like this elusive blue rose, it is in an unattainable space. It is heaven. And who are we dealing with? Of course, the devil. But who lives in this heaven? It isn't the devil, right? It isn't Matt. Matt's been in hell this whole time. We've seen this visually with him being depicted there at the bottom, looking up at Wilson Fisk in the first episode. Who's in heaven? Fisk, right? So it can't be Matt. Matt is finding himself in this topsy-turvy reality where Fisk is in white, reigning supreme. He's creating his own narrative for himself. When he is told that this desk, in fact, actually belonged to this famous, super powerful and significant mayor. Who's he told that? By Vanessa. Vanessa is, of course, an art person. She is able to find information out about art and where things come from. But what reason do we have to believe that she's actually telling them the truth, as opposed to a lie to make him feel like he's powerful and significant and important? And we know that she's willing to lie to him, or at least deceive him, because she orchestrated Foggy's murder. We know this, that she is willing to hide things from him. And yes, she's about to come clean, but it's very possible that he's telling himself a lie about the desk. And does it even matter? He's creating the narrative for himself, or she's creating it for him. So it is the Isle of Joy, right? It is this false world, this blue rose world. And the connection is just made even clearer because BB tells us that she wants to put a dent in his white armor, the armor worn by a knight. Okay, so everything's turned upside down. We know this from the beginning. We know this at the end. And it requires that the Isle of Joy collapses. Well, if it collapses, it turns from heaven to hell. And we now know that the truce between Fisk and Matt is built on a lie. Wilson believes that he's justified in all of his actions, right? In sending out this vigilante team, he's justified in the fact that he wants to torment Matt. But he's wrong. The truce between them had already been violated. Before Matt had ever decided to become Daredevil again, breaking it himself, it had already been broken. Why? Because Vanessa decided to have Foggy killed. And the agreement between Wilson and Matt, which she may not even be aware of, but that agreement was that Matt wouldn't go after Vanessa, making her culpable in Wilson's crimes, but Fisk wouldn't go after the people that Matt loves, specifically Foggy and Karen. So that truce was violated where? on Wilson's side by Vanessa. So the chain of events that has led to all of this moment that Wilson is thinking is in fact Matt's fault, and he's chastising Matt for it, and he's thinking that he's justified in tormenting and punishing Matt for it, was actually started by Vanessa. And it was actually started in Fisk's little slice of heaven. Vanessa is there dressed beautifully in red, the color of blood, symbolizing and connecting to her guilt, to the fact that she is responsible for it. Notice that it's both Fisk and Vanessa are the only people not following the rules of the event that he's thrown. It's black tie, but they're not wearing black and white. He's in all white and she's in red, totally standing out as a guilty party, but she is also there symbolic of the devil, right? In red. She's the central figure dancing with Fisk there in the middle. And Fisk is thinking that he's admonishing Matt. He's telling Matt, like, you should have been aware that there would be consequences. You didn't think that there would be consequences, but who is he dancing with as he says it? He doesn't realize, he doesn't know that he's actually talking to Vanessa. And Vanessa is in fact actually the guilty party, the one who's going to have to face consequences, and thinking that she isn't going to. And she's about to have to deal with that fact when it all starts to collapse, right? Fisk, remember, sees himself as Lancelot, right? He's surrounded by admirers. People are trying to get into his kingdom to get his attention and get things from him, gifts that he can give. He's blind to the impossibility of his desires. It can't happen. It's already been violated. He, in fact, is already living in a world in which he is helping create the hell that he's saying he's going to fight by the violation of the trust that his most beloved person has in fact actually started. He thinks that Matt's the problem. He thinks that Daredevil's the problem. He is unaware of the fact that the real threat is in his kingdom. Vanessa is the one in red. She is the devil in his paradise. Now, Dex has asked Matt for his assistance and is rebuffed. And also, as a result, this is going to lead for consequences. It's going to lead to consequences to Matt. Why did Matt not help him? Pride. It's the number one sin out of the 7 deadly sins. It is the one that leads to all of the other ones. He is too proud to help him. He wants his vengeance and he knows he needs to maintain his vengeance. So he refuses to help him and maintains his pride. And he talks to him in a way that is clearly, I'm better than you. I'm talking down to you. He has let go of his Catholic humility in that moment. And so now the universe itself is going to demand that he pay in sacrifice, because a self-sacrifice is the exact opposite of pride. It is when you are willing to say, no, I am not more important than you. I'm willing to give up my life. I'm willing to give up things that I love, things that are important to me in my humility. And so by saving Fisk, he returns himself to the humility that is necessary for him actually to be an enactor of God's will. He can't be, from his perspective, God's voice when he is in the state of pride and in the state of lying, right? In the state of this denial. So Matt acting like this and Vanessa taking her actions unravels both of their lives. It's all collapsing now around them. It happens super fast, as things do when the world tends to go upside down. But Matt's actions, notice, were already preordained by Dex, because Dex literally tells him, good men defend their worst enemies. So we know that Matt has to do it, right? Why would Matt do it? Because good men defend their enemies. And in so doing, through this sacrifice, by giving up his pride, what is happening to him? He is turned upside down. What does that mean? He ascends to heaven, right? His ultimate sacrifice enables him now to be in the position of being born again, of being able to go from his earthly mortal life to his spiritual world, a world of ascension, where now he is looking down from heaven, literally in this episode. Now, do I think that means that he's actually going to die? No, but it is a symbolic death. And how has the show been deceiving us the whole time? We thought, okay, Daredevil's born again, right? He, Foggy was killed. He goes through a bit of struggle as Matt, but now he's come back and he's beating people up. No, this whole time he was still actually not Daredevil. And he wasn't even really Matt, but now he's being given the opportunity through his self-sacrifice to be born again and to become the true devil of Hell's Kitchen, right? The enactor of God's vengeance against people who deserve it. He hasn't been able to see any of this because he's been lying to himself, deceiving to the people around him who have been able to see it when he couldn't. And that is also a final central theme of this episode. Being seen, thinking that you're actually the one doing the seeing. How do we know? This episode begins with the panopticon, this idea of the guard tower that can see everything. And they don't know that Dex is looking at them, right? That Dex is going to be the one who actually kills them, but he also can't see the way that he's being seen. He's being watched from behind by who? By us and by the jailer. So we cannot see that we are being seen in many cases. And that leads to pride, to Fisk thinking that he can achieve this perfect space and this invulnerability. He is blind to the fact that, like the blue rose, a perfect heaven is unattainable. It can't be done. So what is the secret message after we realize that Matt actually hadn't been born again and that it's about to happen in the conclusion of this episode? It's so tasty. We are being told by this episode that heaven itself is a delusion. The Isle of Joy, it's fleeting. It's never really going to be something you can get your hands on. The closest that we can get to heaven is self-sacrifice. It's an act of void of its ability to see into the future. When you engage in self-sacrifice, you never know what the consequence is going to be. You think it could lead to things getting better, but you don't know for sure. Why? Because you sacrificed yourself. You cannot see. And who's the best person to embody that inability to know the consequences of the future, to see them? A blind man. With that, thank you so much for watching. If you like this episode, please like, please subscribe, hit that little bell so you can get alerts, and comment. If I missed something, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to talk with you in the comments, or if you didn't like it, let me know what I got wrong. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful day.